Hey everybody, good morning. Ulandsey Peterson here. Today, it is Friday, February 12th, 2021. It's 4:37 in the morning, and I'm gonna make this a quick video because I do not have a mount for the phone right now. I'm holding it with my hand, but I think I found a way to make videos. We'll see how this works. Everybody's asleep. Everybody's nice and quiet. The TV is off. The security guard, I think, is nice and quiet. So I can make a video a little bit here. And I'm in the bathroom. Hey, after the day I had yesterday, I instead of with the posts, I had to keep up with had to find a way to make the videos one way or another. Okay, here we go. First of all, Happy New Year to everybody. I want to thank all of you for remaining subscribers to the channel. And those of you who decide to run away, hey, I get it, I understand. I thank you for being subscribers for as long as you have been. Let's see, the old videos. After input from those who care to submit their recommendations, their comments about it, it was overwhelmingly in favor of restoring the videos. I needed the comments, the opinion, the input of my subscribers because you are the ones who built this channel. I only made the videos. You're the ones who watched it, recommended my videos to other people, and kept the channel going for as long as it has been. This channel would not be where it is without you. So I did not want to make a unilateral decision to restore old videos that are no longer relevant for what's going on today because of all the things that have happened in rideshare since the beginning of this channel, and then what happened to me with the stroke gone. So, hey, everyone says put the videos up. We want to hear all your story. We want to see the whole deal over and over again. So, there you go. Thank you so much. I will do my best to produce new content because the saga of me getting a car continues, and I'll talk about that briefly. All right, so about 3 days ago, I was on Auto Trader looking at cars, and what I do is I put in all makes and models within 100 miles away, within a 100-mile radius of where I am. Let's see, automatic transmission, 4 doors. This particular search, I put in private owners and dealers. Normally, I just do dealers only. This time I did private owners. And a very interesting vehicle popped up that really caught my attention. It was a 2001 Volvo S80. It had nearly 200,000 miles on it, but the price was only $900. And no, the price was $600. And I was like, oh no, this car is too good to be true. Something's wrong with this car. I gotta know, because the Volvo S80, that car was produced when when Ford owned Volvo. They had just came out with the car, and then Ford used the platform to create the Ford 500, the Mercury Sable / Mercury Montego, the Ford Taurus, they renamed the Taurus, the 500 to the Taurus, and they also came out with the Freestyle, I believe it is, with the Ford Taurus X. And I think they also created started out with the Ford Flex on that platform too. And then the Volvo S80 was out, which is their top of the line model from Volvo. And I've always liked Volvos. I think Volvos, nice, cool cars, but Volvos have that reputation for safety. So when I'm looking at, okay, the size of the car, the solidity of the structure, the interior space, because those cars have a lot of interior space, but the size it's a good exterior size. Gigantic trunk. Oh my goodness, that car has such a huge trunk. I'm figuring, okay, it probably has the Ford V6 engine in it. This is gonna be a great car. I like the car, but I had to know, why is this person selling this car for only $600? So I found the car was actually listed on Tread, who I highly recommend, by the way. Tread is great. They were awesome. They were good. But the problem with the Volvo, and I thought the guy had a busted timing belt on the car and it needed valve work. And if it needed valve work like that, I definitely would have ran away from the car. I would not have touched it. He said the car needed a head gasket. And so I'm thinking, okay, a head gasket, that's not bad. So my next question then was, does the car start? He says, yes, the car does start. It can run. It just overheats. I'm like, oh, okay. Then if it runs, it starts, will it pass a smog test? He said, yes, it passed a smog test. I went to DMV's website and I checked out the information on the car, and the registration is current on the car. That told me, because the registration is current, it was recently passed, that means the car did pass a smog test. And whatever happened to the vehicle to cause the owner to want to sell it was very recent. So that was good. At least I thought it was good. So I went ahead and I paid for the car. With taxes, license fees, it came to a little over, it came up to nearly $700 that I paid for the car. So now this is how I ended up literally buying the car. Tread has this feature where you can chat with the owner of the car. So I sent a message asking, a litany of questions, wanting to know what's going on with the vehicle. Is the transmission good? There are no accidents reported on the vehicle, no issues with the title reported, things like that. Tread is basically is virtually an online dealer, and they use their resources to process paperwork for private owners, but they do everything online, virtual. So I was able to sign everything virtually to take ownership of the car. So I used my debit card, I paid for the vehicle. Total was about $860 total for the car. I thought I got a great deal. I'm like, great. The hardest thing I have to do, I got to get out there, get the vehicle, and then get it back out here to where I am. So I speak to the owner, and the owner, that's when the owner tells me, hey, it has a blown head gasket. I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that. I'll buy the car, I'll get it fixed. Then I did the research on the Volvo S80, and let me back up a little bit. So after I sent the initial message to the owner, I did not hear back from the owner for about 30 minutes. So I'm like, okay, I don't know if I should buy this car. I'm really skeptical. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to go to sleep on this. And if I wake up in the morning and the driver and the owner of the car does not respond back to me in the message after sleep, then I'm going to drop it. Well, unknown to me, Tread also installs an app on your watch, because they have an app that you communicate with the phone, and they also installed it on my Apple Watch. So I'm like, all right. I didn't know until I'm 2 minutes into sleep and I get a notification on the watch. The owner sent a message back. I'm like, oh, this is a good sign. So I look at my phone because the watch is too small to read, and I communicate with the owner for about an hour after he sends the initial message, and I'm like, hey, you know, the owner reached out to me, answered all my questions. He was very straight up. The very first question he said, hey, hey, the car needs a head gasket. Okay, does it need a timing belt? Nope, timing belt did not go out. That's good. Does it start? Yes, the vehicle does start. Okay, can it move on its own power? Yes, the car can move on its own power. Transmission is good. Because that's all I need. I just need a car that can move in the parking lot. That's all I'm thinking about at the time. I say, okay, great. So I immediately go on the Tread's website, I fill out all the information, and I pay for the car on the spot. I'm saying, I don't want nobody else to get this deal. So yeah, I bought the car. I'm like, ooh, next thing I knew, a few minutes later, I get the email back, my confirmation is done, and I accomplished my goal. I have a VIN number. That's what I wanted. I wanted a VIN number on a vehicle that is mine so that I can get the registration that has my name and my address on it, so it can help me towards getting the real ID. I go in armed with all sorts of information. I got my bank statement, I got my phone bill, I got vehicle registration, my disabled placard. What else do I have? My birth certificate, my social security card, and I have my driver's license that hasn't expired yet. So I'm like, hey, I'm getting this real ID. When it's time to renew my driver's license, I'm prepared, I'm ready, I got everything, no problems. And I'm getting a P.O. box too. So I'm like, hey, that's the reason why I wanted the car. And as long as I can get it out here and put it in the parking lot and move it when it needs to be moved, I'm good. So then I go on ahead and process the payment. But there's a problem with my debit card. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe this isn't going through. So I call Tread, and we speak about the transaction and everything. We do the transaction manually. Debit card goes through just fine. But then during the course of the conversation, I tell the rep on the phone, oh, you know, the owner told me that the car has a blown head gasket, and I'm willing to buy the car as is. Whatever repairs are needed for the vehicle, I'm willing to pay for it. And so the guy says, so the rep with Tread says, oh, I wish you told me that before we processed your credit card, because we probably won't be able to do the transaction because all cars that we process must pass smog. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know. I'm trusting Tread. You know, I'm thinking they're a dealer. They do all this stuff, but it is the responsibility of the seller to perform a smog test on the car, and then when I get the vehicle, it's my responsibility to do another smog test when the paperwork is transferred. But Tread does all of the paperwork for you. The seller has to do the smog test. I just go pick up the car, get all the information on the vehicle. Everything is submitted electronically to DMV. All I do is go to the owner, pick up the car, boom, and then I get my little license plate frame to put on it, and I'm a happy Treader. So Tread calls me back and says, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go on ahead and reverse the entire transaction. We're going to put you in direct contact with the owner, and if you still want the car, you can handle the transaction yourself. I said, okay, great, I'm cool with that. I messaged the owner, and I agree. I said, look, I'll still pay you the same $600. I said, $600 for the car, because with taxes and everything, it was a little over $800 for the car. So I'll pay the same $600 for the vehicle, buying it as is, no problem. You told me, you disclosed everything. I know what's going on. So this is when the drama begins. We agreed to make the payment through CashApp. So I'm ready to process the payment through CashApp. CashApp doesn't want to work right. I have to walk all the way to the bank. I gotta move the money into the account manually and then transfer the money to CashApp. So finally, I was able to pay the entire amount for the CashApp. Everything was good. Then I start looking for a mechanic to help me get the car repaired. Come to find out, to repair the head gasket on a Volvo S80 T6 is over $3,000. I'm like, okay, but if you know anything about a head gasket, when you have to replace the head gasket, you basically dismantle the engine. You know, you're taking everything apart or so, which means I'm more than likely going to have to do a full tune-up on the car, replace the timing belt, replace the water pump, replace replace all the hoses, replace the spark plugs. Might as well, because all that labor is going to be done. A full inspection of the engine to make sure everything is good to go. That's a lot of work. Problem is, I couldn't find a mechanic who's willing to do the work. Then they have to track down why the car is overheating in the first place. It could be a bad thermostat, it could be bad hoses, it could be a bad radiator, bad heater core, something's causing the car to overheat. Then I did more research on the car, and the car has all kinds of electrical problems. I mean, the Volvo S80 is a basket case. There's a reason why you hardly see any of them on the road today. I mean, hey, safety-wise, stellar reputation. You in an accident, that's the car you want to be in. But when it comes to, and then, you know, it has the luxury you'd expect in a vehicle in that price point when it was new. You know, leather seats, power seats, heated seats, dual zone climate control, halfway decent sound system, wonderful suspension to drive on the road, moonroof. You know, it has very conservative styling, but I like the way the car looks. The paint was in the condition you'd expect for a car of that vintage, but you can always repaint a car. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's wiser for me to just get another engine for the car. I'm looking for a replacement engine for the car. Engines are relatively inexpensive. I'm surprised at some of the prices I saw for some of the voters. I said, okay, fine. Let me do an engine swap on the vehicle. So then I'm looking for mechanics to do an engine swap, and nobody wants to do that either. I'm thinking, what is it about this car that people are turning down work for this car? So I'm like, okay, you know what? The Volvo S80 was a nice idea. The car is a basket case. It's too much of a basket case, because when you have a mechanic that tells you this car is going to cost a lot of money and it's going to cost you so much money to get this vehicle repaired, I'm telling you, the mechanic, this is how they make money to fix cars and hand you a bill for $4,000, $5,000. And if a mechanic is telling you this, what the mechanic is really telling you is they don't want to touch it. And this is a mechanic with a fantastic reputation on Yelp and Angie's List and on Google. And if they're telling me, oh, you know, this car's gonna cost you a lot of money, and we're short-staffed, and you know that's an involved project, and you know every reason under the sun not to start with the project, that is Red flag number one right there. If you cannot find a mechanic that's gonna work on that car, don't touch it. I said, okay, fine. I have to accept the situation for what it is. And I have to take a loss on the vehicle. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna take formal possession of the car in a few days. I'm gonna go out there, do whatever I have to put the car in my name, and then I'm going to junk the car. I'm going to call one of these junkyards. They come pick up free cars, junk cars or whatever, and get whatever money I can out of it and be done with it, and I'm moving on. The Mercedes. My best friend, Chris, he's a millionaire. All he buys is Mercedes. Well, he recently bought a new vehicle. He bought a new Land Cruiser. I told him, hey man, this is the final year of the Land Cruiser as we know it today. V8 engine is gone. If you want this Land Cruiser in the classic way, you better get it now, because now the real Land Cruisers will be only Lexus models, the Lexus LX 570. So, but Chris, he has wanted a Land Cruiser for as long as I've known him. And so he finally got one. He finally got a brand new Land Cruiser, this pretty gray color with dark gray interior. It's pretty cool. He got a great deal on it also. And what happened? But his wife is mad at him because he has all these old cars he's not doing any work on. He has a 57 Bel Air. He just bought that. His 63 Impala that's sitting in the garage for as long as he's been in his house he's in now. The car, he put that car in the garage and didn't even touch it, putting all kinds of junk in the car. It's a convertible, 63 convertible Impala SS, very rare car. I never thought he would sell that car, but his wife got mad. He sold that car. His S600, he got it fixed, but he's gonna let that car go because it's too expensive to get it restored the way he wants it done. His Mercedes CL, the dealership told him it was gonna cost him $30,000 just to fix the suspension on the car. He's getting rid of the CL. I'm like, okay, my goodness. And mind you, he's trying to give me the CL. And I'm like, I don't want that expensive car, that crazy suspension on that car. And it goes out and the V8 engine and all the gas, it sucks up, and but hey, that car will accomplish the goal. If I can get it for free, I might end up getting that instead. So, because hey, look, it can pass smog, and if I can get that car for no money, the transmission is good, the CL is drivable. But I really wanted the 190E. The reason why I wanted the 190E, it's a 1993 190E 2.6, so it has an inline 6 engine, chain-driven cams. That's very important to me. However, I probably shouldn't put so much into a chain drive, because chain drives do crack. And since the 190 has been sitting up, it's probably even more susceptible to crack now, because the chain is probably corroded. And that means I start that engine and I put some work, I work the engine, and one day, boom, and I'm gonna blow up the engine anyway. Plus the whatchamacallit, the head gasket on that car is probably dried out too, and who knows if the catalytic converter is good on that vehicle. Who knows what condition the radiator is in, the heater core. I don't know what the interior looks like yet. I know what the outside looks like because he did have pictures of that. But my biggest frustration with the 190 is Chris will not give me the VIN number to the vehicle. I need the VIN number so I can at least get insurance on the car. And he's like, oh, it's your car, it's a free car. All you gotta do is put a new transmission in it. Put a new transmission, it's yours. It's sitting out here waiting for you. Just come get it. Okay, great, man. I need the VIN number. give me the VIN number. Why? Because I need to know how much money I need to pay for the fees I don't want any surprises when it comes to going to DMV. I want to already know, okay, this is how much money you need to pay to register the car. This is what's happening with the catalytic converter. This is what's happening with your insurance. So it's done. So when I get out there, all that stuff is already taken care of. But without the VIN, I'm putting myself through a whole lot of trouble and frustration for nothing. So I'm like, you know what? And then I take over the vehicle. Every time I see the vehicle, every time Chris sees the vehicle, it's always going to be, man, the car's not clean. Why aren't you cleaning it? Man, when you going to get it repainted? Oh, man, what's happening to this? You doing this all right? You take it to the oil change it? That boy is possessive. Oh, goodness, he is so possessive. And, yeah, I'm getting the car, but that car will never be mine. It will always be his car. And everything. So man, that 190, man, if you ever want to get that car back, man, just give me that car back. Let me know first. Let me know. Oh, because he already told me about the CL. He said, hey, I love the CL. I'm not getting rid of my CL. If you ever decide to get rid of the CL, you got to call me back and let me know what's going on. And then I told him, well, if I take the CL, I'm getting rid of that active body control suspension and I'm putting a standard coil suspension in the vehicle. You can do a conversion on one of those for about $3,000. And they're done all the time. But hey, you don't see that many CLs on the road either. Excuse me. So I'm like, you know what? Getting the car from Chris is going to come with way too many stipulations, come way too many strings. And so I'm like, you know what? Nope. I'm better off walking away. Let him take care of that and let me get my own car on my own merit. So no CL, no 190E, no Volvo S80. I think about it all the time. It feels so good that I did buy the car, but I went through the transaction anyway with the vehicle because what I did, I should not have done. And I realize that now, and it cost me for it. When the owner of the car told me that it had a head gasket, I should have ran away. When the owner of the car told me all these things, basically that's it. And when I constantly ran into problems getting the money to the buyer, the seller of the car, I should have said, you know what, this isn't working, too many frustrations, I need to run away from this. Hey, and I should have left it there. But what happened, I built up the expectation it's going to be paid for and I'm going to do this. And I kept persisting with it. And then to walk away and say, oh, now you decide to change your mind and not buy the car. You know, I would have deeply regretted that bad deal for a very, very long time. And so it's like, no, you need to honor what you've done here, and you need to take over that car and then do what you need to do with it. So I'm like, hey, you know, but with Chris and the Mercedes, the one thing I absolutely needed to make the deal happen with that car, Chris will not give me. And because of that, I'm like, man, look, at the end of the day, I needed to have this information to get this vehicle, and you're just simply not giving it to me. You're telling me that the car is mine, but it really isn't. You're not doing it. I moved on. I had to do something else. Well, you know, you're sitting here waiting for you and all like that. Well, when are you going to send the money to do this and that? And all. I'm like, you know what? If the car was really, truly mine, it honestly wouldn't even care. He would say, look, man, look, the car is yours. I'll do whatever paperwork we need to get it in your name. And you come pick it up whenever you're ready for it. No problem at all. If that was the case, I would have had the car months ago. I know this. But no, he's like, okay, if you take the VIN number, it's yours, it's yours. I said, okay, great. Send me the VIN number. Won't send me the VIN number. So I'm like, I don't know. But one thing I want to do, because when I think about what the money it's going to take to put into the 190 to get it back on the road, especially the money to put into the Volvo to put it back on the road, I might as well get a new car, because it's going to cost me over $3,000 for either car, and most of that is going to be paid in labor to mechanics to take care of everything, and then I'll be worried about these cars for years, and then years anyway, going to turn around and get another vehicle anyway. I was thinking about the 190. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna turn this into a project car. I'm gonna convert it to electric, and I'm gonna have so much fun with that car. It's gonna be nice and sporty and all great. And plus, there's so much nostalgia that I'm driving the first Mercedes I ever drove. I'm like, oh, this is great. I got so caught up in that. I am not thinking objectively or logically about the true cost of these vehicles, and the fact that it makes absolutely zero sense for me in my current economic situation to be buying these old cars, trying to put them back on the road. I was caught up in having a VIN number so I could take care of Real ID. I don't need a VIN number to get the Real ID. I just need a cell phone bill. I just need a cell phone bill. What else do I need? A cell phone bill, a bank statement, and my social security number and my birth certificate. That's all I need. Having a car, I don't need that. So, and then once I get the update to my driver's license, then I get the P.O. box. But this thing about this car, I was obsessed over it, because that's all I've always had some kind of nice vehicle since I was a little kid. When I was a kid, I had a big wheel. I love my big wheel. Oh my goodness. You could not tear me away from that big wheel. After the big wheel got messed up and I had a bad accident in my big wheel, sent me to the hospital and everything, my mom got me a bike. And it was a Huffy. It was a brown Huffy. And I remember the first time I taught myself how to ride the bike. I went to the street that had a slight hill on it, because I did everything I could to ride this bike on my own on flat surface. I couldn't do it. So I went to the street that had the slight hill on it. And I went to the top of the hill, and I went down, and I balanced myself on the bike. And then I started pedaling, and I pedaled fast. And I went around the corner, and bam, I knew how to ride a bike. And then I had a blue Schwinn before I turned 10, and I was riding real fast one day, and I turned this corner, and there was some sand on the street, and I slid on that sand, and my goodness, I got a real bad rash on my shoulder and a really bad rash on my knee. Marks are still there to this day. I look at those and I'm like, man, talk about a fun childhood. And then got my first car. I originally wanted a Ford Escort, but what was it? My mom didn't want to finance me for the Ford Escort, so she gave me cash, and I ended up getting this Honda Civic Si, which is even better, because that's what I really wanted. I really wanted the Honda Civic Si. It was red and 5-speed manual, and it had the pop-up moonroof. And my first trip I took in the car, I drove to San Diego by myself for the first time. I went to the gas station, I got a map, and I drove to San Diego. And the feeling of having that much independence to drive that far away from home was exhilarating. So Joe got that car, and then what? Not even 2 months after I had that car, I turned around and bought my first new car. I had a 1991 Acura Integra LS Special, and boy, did I love that car. Ooh, that car was clean. I paid a ton of money in maintenance on that car. It was white with the white alloy wheels and a two-tone interior. It had black seats with tan inserts. It had the spoiler. I had a custom sound system put in the car. And you talk about, oh my goodness, I had that car for 3 years. At year 2, I wrecked it. And I'll tell y'all about that story. And I was in the middle of the desert when I wrecked the car too. But I got it fixed and everything. And I tell you, it was, my experience with cars is something else. So this video was far longer than I wanted it to be, but I want to just thank each and every one of you. I tell you, it really warmed my heart and it really encouraged me when so many of you told me to restore the old videos. You wanted to see them anyway. And it's kind of fitting that I'm making the video today because I just realized, well, you know, hey, I look super clean today because this is my DMV picture look. I went to DMV, took my picture, and I formally changed my residence with the DMV, with the state of California, because that's going to help me get housing a little better. And so I'm looking forward to getting a new place to stay a little sooner than expected. We'll see how that goes. But I'm still working on doing the car, and we're gonna see what happens. As far as a new car is concerned, I know some of you said don't finance a car, don't do this, but I'm like, I don't know what to do. Because after this dealing with these old cars, I'm thinking, you know, I should just go on ahead and just get something brand new with a warranty and just pay it off and deal with that. So I was looking at the cheapest available brand new car out there that I'm willing to deal with, and that would be the Chevy Spark. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it does have OnStar. And it has Bluetooth, and it has USB and all. But man, that little car is so dinky. I mean, and do I really want to be in that car? And do I really want to make payments on that thing? So then I looked at the Chevy Trax, and I like the Chevy Trax. It's a little bigger, and I could work with the Chevy Trax. And plus, it has OnStar. Because when I had my Chevy Cruze, I had OnStar, and I loved it. Greatest thing in the world. And every GM car comes with Wi-Fi service. You pay them $20 a month for unlimited data service through AT&T, and it's unlimited data for $20 a month, and it's not on a contract. That's great. I love it. And it makes all this stuff work. You can unlock the car, check its status, all that stuff. So, you know, those people who get a Chevy Bolt, they're really getting a good deal with the OnStar, because you can control everything in the car, remote control, but drive it remote control. So then I'm like, okay, but then I'm thinking, you know, I could get a great deal on another Renegade, because, you know, I have my Jeep Renegade, and I love that Renegade. That truck was nice. It was, you know, and power could have been a little better. Fuel economy could have been a little better, but it was comfortable. I liked the upright look of it. I liked the styling. It had tons of storage space in the rear. The seats were comfortable. The transmission was nice. I had a good time with it, and I had no problems with the vehicle that I had. I miss my little Renegade, I do. So I thought about just get another Renegade. I was saying, and let me see. I like the Chevy Malibu. I mean, it's a boring car, but hey, it did the job nicely. It's great. If I could have any new car right now and money wasn't a feature, I would get a Tesla Model S. That's what I would get, especially this new Tesla S. Oh, whew, They did a great job on that car. I love that steering wheel, and I love how they turned the steering wheel, the dash from portrait mode to landscape mode in the Model S. They improved the seats, and I like the changes they made, the subtle changes they made to the exterior. So I love the new S. But hey, I would go with the Model 3 as well too. Let's see, and I like the Chevy Bolt. The Chevy Bolt is one of the best electric cars out there, and I would get a Chevy Bolt in a heartbeat. That car was awesome, and the one thing I loved about the Chevy Bolt, and this is a very, very important thing for me range-wise. From LAX, on one charge, you can go from LAX to Palm Springs. From one charge, you can go from LAX to San Diego. From one charge, you can go from LAX to Lancaster. My thing, as long as I can go in those distances, charge-wise, it's good. Now, I would love to have a car that could go from LAX to San Francisco International, because I have family up north. And right now, I still need a gasoline-powered car to do that at a reasonable cost. These new GM cars, these new GM electric cars that are coming out, they will be able to drive one-way LAX to San Francisco International on a single charge. That's a good thing. But for now, I'm willing to make a couple of stops to get up there in an electric vehicle, because they're charging stations around. Oh, and there is one more car that I would love to own, and that is the new Toyota Mirai 2021. Oh, goodness. I can't wait to see the Lexus version. Toyota discontinued, Lexus actually discontinued the GS. The Lexus GS was discontinued to make room for the Lexus version of the Mirai. Toyota did something wonderful with the new Mirai. They took the electric motor, they put it on the rear axle, and up front is where the fuel cell stack is. And they gave it some hot styling. Oh, it looks great. When I saw that car, wait a second, this car looks familiar. It looks sort of like the Lexus LS. And basically, it does. It looks, and the reason why is because the Mirai is now on the same platform that the LS is on. It's the short wheelbase version of the LS 500. But it's for the Mirai. So the ride of that vehicle is going to be absolutely incredible. They improved the power output. It has better range. The hydrogen cylinders are where the driveline tunnel is. So no more drive shaft for the Mirai. The motor is in the very rear. So it's a rear drive vehicle. The dynamics will be amazing. When I saw the car, I was blown away. Yeah, I would love to have a ride, but hey, they're having hydrogen supply issues up in Northern California. Down here in Southern California, hydrogen is fine, but up north, they're having issues with it. So it's like, I'll stick with a battery car. But right now, as far as a new car is concerned, I don't know. I looked at Toyota Corollas. For the amount of money Toyota wants for a Corolla, I might as well get a Honda Civic, or look for a really good deal on a Camry. But then each time, I might as well spend a little bit of money on this. I might as well spend a little bit more money on this. Before you realize it, you're spending $60,000 for a car when you're trying to only spend $15,000. So. It never ends. I think I'll have to give up on the car thing for a while. Just let it go. But in order for me to fully restore myself, I absolutely need a car. There's no way around it. I need a car, because I take a job and the job is, okay, your job is, we got your job, but you are, it's 30 miles away. I can't get there by bus. It's not going to happen. I've been down that road several times before, and it doesn't work. In LA, at least, it does not work. You gotta have a car in LA. You know, I was a bus operator, and I was always late to work when I was a bus operator because my hours were always changing, and if one bus goes down, that's it. I'm 2 hours late. And yeah, the Metro excused it, but it gets a little tired after a while when you have another bus operator waiting for you to relieve them, and now it's a problem. And so, you know, all that went away when I had my car. When I had my car, it was no problem, and I was a reliable employee until I got assaulted on the bus. All right. This was a long video. I got all that out my system. It is so good to speak to all of you. And I think I found a solution to my video drama until I get a vehicle. Get down here at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when it's quiet. No one's bothered. No one can hear me. I'm in the bathroom, locked up. And hey, I make the video to my heart content, and then I upload it and everything is good to go. So hey, I hope everyone is having their best blessed day ever. That's what my mom says every day, and so I'm going to say that to you too. And I look forward to catching you on the next day, on the next video, next day, next video, all that good stuff. Take care, everyone. I look forward to your comments, and I appreciate every single one of you. I truly do. Even those of you that leave the mean comments, I do, because those mean comments make me stronger. Yes, they do. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.